Here's a truth no one dares to carve into the noise of your daily grind. You're bleeding strength every moment you fight what you can't change. Picture yourself caught in a gale, wind howling, rain lashing your face, your hands gripping a rope tied to a storm you'll never tame, your job's unraveling, a loved one's slipping away. The past is a ghost that won't stay buried, and you're shouting into the void. Why can't I bend this to my will? That struggle's not making you stronger. It's grinding you to dust. And no, this isn't about throwing up your hands or lying down for life to trample. It's about something ancient, something forged in the fires of Rome's bloodiest days by souls who stared down chaos and walked away unshaken. The stoic power of accepting what lies beyond your grasp so you can channel your fire into what's yours to shape. The twist? You don't need to conquer the world to find peace. You can claim it right here, in the wreckage, by releasing what was never yours to hold. I've been that fool in the storm, fists clenched, heart pounding, raging against a tide I couldn't turn until Stoicism lit a path through the dark. For over 2 decades, I've carried the words of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, sages who didn't just whisper of calm, they built it amid crumbling empires and personal ruin. Today, I'm not offering you a soft pillow of platitudes or a fleeting trick to ease the sting. I'm handing you a stoic compass, a tool to navigate the unfixable, to let go of what you can't control, and to find a peace that cuts like steel through life's chaos. If you've ever burned out wrestling the uncontrollable, ever searched for a way to accept things you cannot change and find emotional freedom, this is your map to a life unbowed. Stick with me. By the end, you'll see acceptance not as a white flag, but as a war cry, and you'll walk through the world lighter, stronger, free. Hit that like button if you're ready to let go and step onto the stoic path to peace. Why does this matter? Because life doesn't kneel to your demands. It throws punches you can't block, deadlines that crush, betrayals that sting, losses that linger like smoke. Most people swing back, clawing at what won't move, cursing delays, replaying old wounds, chasing ghosts of what might have been. It's a fight that leaves you hollow, your strength sapped for no gain. The Stoics saw the futility and chose a better way. Seneca wrote, "Fate leads the willing and drags the unwilling." And he wasn't spinning riddles, he was pointing to a truth as old as stone. Resisting what you can't control doesn't make you mighty. It makes you a prisoner. Accepting it sets you free to act where it counts. I've watched resistance snap spirits tougher than mine, and I've learned to release what's too heavy to carry. This isn't about ignoring the ache or pretending you're above it all. It's about knowing what battles are yours and which belong to fate, so you can deal with what you can't fix and find peace in difficult situations. Over this long, winding odyssey, I'll guide you through a stoic framework to let go and move on, not just to endure the uncontrollable, but to master it with a clarity that feels like standing on a mountain's peak. We'll wander through stories, some from the marble corridors of ancient Rome, some from the raw edges of my own life, tangle with the ideas that might make you pause or push back, and arrive at lessons that sink into your bones and stay. Share this with someone who's caught in a fight they can't win. They'll thank you when they lay down the weight and rise. Let's begin at the root. Acceptance is not surrender, it's a sword. The Stoics didn't see letting go as weakness. It was a calculated strike to cut away what binds you. Epictetus said, "The chief task in life is simply this, to identify and separate matters so that I can say clearly to myself which are externals not under my control and which have to do with the choices I actually control." Imagine you're stuck in a downpour, soaked to the bone, yelling at the clouds to stop. Your plans are ruined, your mood's sour, and you're shaking your fist at the scarcity. That's resistance, and it's stealing your breath for nothing. The Stoic stands in the rain and says, "I can't stop the storm, but I can choose how I walk through it." I learned this in 2017 when my marriage shattered like glass under a hammer. Nights alone, I'd pace my rented room, my mind a battlefield, anger at my ex for leaving, guilt for what I didn't do, fear I'd never rebuild. I wanted to rewrite the past, force her back, make it right. Then Epictetus's voice pierced the fog. What's not yours to control? Her heart, our history, the divorce papers, not mine. Mine was my next step, how I'd rise, what I'd build. I stopped clawing at what was gone, turned to what was left. My body, my pen, my will. I hit the gym, wrote through the pain, planted seeds for a new life. Acceptance didn't dull the wound. It gave me room to heal. It's not giving in. It's choosing where your power lies. Sound too stark? It's not. It's a spark that lights the way. This might ignite a blaze. Some would argue that accepting the unchangeable is just a fancy way of quitting. You've got to fight for what matters, they'd say, or you're letting life steamroll you. I've felt that fire, resistance has pushed me to stand up, to demand justice, to hold tight to what's mine. But the Stoics weren't cowards. They were tacticians. Fighting my ex's choice didn't glue our marriage back together. It just broke me further. Acceptance wasn't defeat. It was redirecting my strength to battles I could win, like rebuilding my soul. Is it apathy or armor? Drop your thoughts below. I'm braced for the heat. Now let's sink into the Stoic core, the dichotomy of control. This is the heartbeat of Stoic freedom, and Epictetus laid it out like a law carved in stone. There are two kinds of things in this world. Those you can control, like your actions, your choices, your attitude, and those you can't, like other people's minds, the weather, death, the relentless march of time. True freedom, the kind that no storm can shake, comes from pouring your energy into the first and letting the second slip through your fingers like sand. Picture your coworker snapping at you, sharp and unprovoked. Your blood surges, you want to fire back, change their tune, make them see sense. Emotion demands control over their words. The Stoic asks, what's mine? Not their temper, not their thoughts. Mine is my response. Maybe a steady nod, maybe walking away. In 2018, a major client yanked a contract out from under me. No explanation, just a cold email, months of work gone. Panic clawed at me. I'm ruined. I've failed. Then the dichotomy kicked in. I can't control their decision, but I can control my hustle. I didn't beg or stew. I called new leads, pitched harder, landed 2 better deals within weeks. Letting go didn't erase the hit. It opened a path forward. Try it right now. What's slipping beyond your reach? Name it, release it, and focus on what's yours. This one's a powder keg. Some say this focus is too tight, almost cold. You can't just shrug off the world, they'd argue. People's actions, systems, consequences, they matter. I get it. I've cared deeply, fought for others, felt the ripple of a single choice across my life. But the Stoics weren't detached. They were deliberate. That client's exit wasn't my universe. It was one wave in a sea. I couldn't stop it, but I could swim. Dichotomy of control, selfish or liberating. Share this if it's striking a nerve. Let's fan the flames. Let's move to the first practice. Say, it is what it is. This isn't a throwaway line. It's a Stoic mantra, a blade to cut through the clutter of resistance. Seneca wrote, Yakim. You have to change the way you see things before you can change the way you feel about them. When life hits hard, a job rejection, a friendship fading, a plan collapsing, pause and say it. It is what it is. You're not dismissing the pain or pretending it's fine. You're stripping away the extra weight your emotions pile on. Seeing reality bare. In 2019, a close friend, let's call her Clara, cut contact after a misunderstanding. No call, no text, just silence. Hurt burned like acid. I wanted to storm her door, demand answers. How could she do this? Then Seneca's voice. Accept it. It is what it is, I muttered, pacing my kitchen. Clara's choice wasn't mine to shift. Not my fault, not my fight. The sting didn't vanish, but it loosened. I reached out to others, built new bonds. That phrase wasn't indifference. It was my lifeline to clarity. Try it today. What's weighing you down? Say it softly. It is what it is. Feel that release? That Stoic peace-taking root. This practice sparks the fight. Some call it callous, even cruel. Saying it is what it is ignores the wound, they'd argue. It shuts down what's human. I've felt that. Loss aches, and no words make it small. But the Stoics didn't use it to numb pain. They used it to face it without sinking. Clara's ghosting hurt, but dwelling didn't bring her back. Accepting it let me move forward. Is it heartless or healing? Like this, if it's ringing true, let's see who's nodding along. Second practice, journal the split. Grab a notebook, draw 2 columns, what I can do and what I must accept. Pour it out. What's in your power? What belongs to fate? In 2020, work was a pressure cooker. Projects piling, colleagues slacking, my nerves fraying. I'd sit at night, pen in hand. Can do. Tackle my tasks, speak up in meetings, must accept, teams delays, budget cuts. It was like untangling a knot. I stopped obsessing over what I couldn't fix. One entry showed I couldn't force a promotion, accepted it, focused on my output, earned it 6 months later. Journaling isn't just reflection, it's a stoic ritual to clear the chaos. Start tonight. What's your split? Write it down and see what shifts. Here's the story I promised. A moment that etched this stoic path into my marrow. It was 2019 and my first book after my divorce hit the world like a stone sinking in a pond. I'd poured everything into it. Sleepless nights, raw hope, every word a brick in my rebuilt life. It launched and it crashed. Reviews were brutal, derivative, uninspired, a miss, and sales were a whisper, not the roar I dreamed. Emotions tore through me like a wildfire, shame, despair, a voice screaming, "You're done, you're nothing." I'd been practicing Stoic tools since the divorce, naming feelings, questioning stories, but this was a beast, threatening to bury me. Then Epictetus's voice rang clear. What's not yours to control? The critic's pens, the market's mood, the numbers, not mine. Mine was my pen, my grit, my next word. I said, it is what it is, journaled. Can do, write again, learn from feedback. Must accept this book's fate. I shifted to action. 500 words a day, no excuses, studying every critique to sharpen my craft. 6 months later, I had a new manuscript, rough but alive, and it sold, not a bestseller, but a victory, my victory. Acceptance didn't soften the blow. It built a bridge over it. That flop wasn't my grave. It was my forge. You've had a moment like that, haven't you? Where resistance chained you until you let go. Share it below. I want to hear your rise. Third practice, shift from reaction to action. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Don't stew in what you can't change. Move on what you can. That book's failure pushed me to react. Hate the reviewers, quit writing, hide. Instead, I acted, read their notes, wrote better, pitched again. In Twine, a job application got rejected. Not a fit, they said. Reaction, sulk, feel small. Action, tweak my resume, apply elsewhere. Landed a better gig weeks later. What's your block? Don't curse it, use it, act now, tell me what you'll do. Let's keep the fire going. Fourth practice, breathe through the weight. Seneca, nothing is miserable unless you think it so. When resistance rises, breathe slow, deep, deliberate. In 2022, a family fight left me reeling. Words I couldn't unsay, riffs I couldn't mend. I breathed, accepted their anger wasn't mine to fix, acted by listening more. It eased the strain. Breathe now, what's lifting? Fifth practice, reframe the loss. Marcus, you have power over your mind, not outside events. A rejection's not failure, it's a lesson. A loss isn't the end, it's the turn. That flop became my teacher. Clara's silence became my chance to grow. Reframe yours. What's it showing you? Sixth practice, cut the noise. Epictetus, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. Resistance feeds on clutter. X's rants, others drama. I quit scrolling post-2019, focused on my work, my breath. Quiet freed me. What's your clutter? Drop it. Seventh practice, own your choices. Seneca, life is long if you know how to use it. You can't control fate, but you control your move. I chose writing over despair, action over regret. What's your choice? Own it. Tell me. Eighth practice, expect the unfixable. Marcus, today I shall be meeting with interference, ingratitude, insolence. Life's messy, brace for it. I expected rejections, delays. When they came, I stood firm. What's your storm? Prep for it. Ninth practice, see the long view. Epictetus, you become what you give your attention to. One loss isn't your life. That book was a chapter, not my story. Zoom out. What's your bigger frame? Tenth practice, smile at fate. Seneca. Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. Resistance chains, acceptance laughs. I grinned at 2019's rubble, built anew. What's your fate to smile at? That book's crash wasn't my end. It was my spark. Stoicism doesn't soften life, it strengthens you. You're not fate's pawn. Like this, share it. Let's free the world.